In a world where hopium and common sense collide, starring the CryptoKeeper and BlockchainCrusader. Welcome to Debate Crypto.
Question everything.
Trust nothing.
It's your boys, Keeper and Crusader. We have got a special guest in the house tonight. Your boy, Zach Rector. Zach, how are you doing this evening, brother?
Doing fantastic, guys. Thank you for having me.
Dude, we are happy to have you here. We're gonna have some fun tonight. If y'all don't know, now you know. It's What If Wednesday. If you've never been here before, maybe if you're coming over from Zach's side of the street, what we like to do is dive into some real life events that are happening that in a really broad way can affect not just the crypto markets, not just the financial markets, but they'll affect you in an everyday way. So that's what we're going to get into tonight. Make sure you guys join the Discord. We've got Danger Close Alpha. If you don't know, we have an NFT project that ultimately is bonding together the crypto markets with the survivalist community, with the prepper community. Another reason why we've got Zach on, that's something that he is definitely interested in as well. We are trying to get your families, your friends, everybody prepared, because the reality is it's a sad, scary world out there. So let's dive into it. You know what, Miguel? You want to take a quick look at
let's look at the markets real quick.
Take a peek at the market real quick before we dive into our fun this evening. All right, so the cryptocurrency markets are up 1.44% at $925.67 billion with a B dollars. We got Bitcoin up about 1% at 20,595. ETH up about 4%. Let's go at 1193. Let's see. Scroll down here a little bit. What we got? BNB up a couple percent. You guys know how this goes. XRP, Zach, XRP fam. You know, let's raise it up. We got 33 cents. We are up 1.99%. Miguel, you are officially the minority in the XRP fam today, so you will be quiet.
I will always stand my ground
when spoken to. We got Cardano at about 46 cents, Solana, and then Dogecoin up a couple percent. So, hey, the market's green. I guess that's
we're back, baby. That's it. We're back.
Let's go. The bull run is back on, baby. Let's go. So, hey, real quick, before we get into it, Zach, do you have anything in particular going on right now that you want to tell some of our guests about? Anything that you're really working on? Something we want to make sure that everybody that's in here is following you, knows what you do. You want to give just like a quick little, intro about yourself and kind of what you got going on?
Man, I'm just trying to get content out as much as possible because I know so many people are figuring out what's going on around them, but they don't have the strategies. They don't know how to stay focused and execute on a daily basis, which I think is got to be the main priority. So I started, if you're going to let me plug what I got going on for sure. I don't do any paid sponsors or anything like that, but I do have a business development program that I just started up for my Discord. Okay. So it's like just another way that I'm trying to bring value to my community, kind of, similar to what you guys are doing with your NFT project. I know you guys are bringing value to your community too. And what I'm talking about is prepping, real estate, cryptocurrency, precious metals. But then what I've started to talk about now is business, because I think everyone needs to start running their family, their household like a business and understanding 100%. Your cash flow. How much money are you bringing in? And so, yeah, that's been my main focus over the last couple months here, is getting people to start their side hustle. And even if they just have a job, to think of themselves as an entrepreneur so that they can make more money. Because right now you got to bring it in, whether you want to invest in cryptocurrency or if you're just battling inflation. Yeah, this is how we survive during these times. So, yeah, thanks for letting me shout out what we're doing in our community, and really,
that's
proud of it.
That's super dope. Yeah, Miguel and I have talked about that a lot. Not specifically with the word. I like the wording that you just used, running your family as if it's a business. The reality is that we are trying to battle these external forces. We're going to talk about these tonight that ultimately are holding us down or trying to hold us down financially. And what are we going to do? We've got to fight back against it. And that's why we get into the conversations that we have tonight. So make sure you guys smash the likes. We got about 44 people in here, so we better have at least 44 likes. Make sure that you guys do that. You know how this YouTube game works. Just do your thing there. That's what we ask. Let's have fun in the chat. Let's all be respectful in the chat, but let's dive into it. So, Miguel, what do you want to start? You want to start CERN? You want to start Roe v. Wade? You want to talk elitists? Where you want to start here? We got a lot of heat tonight.
Let's get the ball rolling. Let's go hard, dude. Let's start off with the Roe v. Wade thing. Let's get that out of the way for the people. Warm them up, get their blood pumping, and then we can dive into this other stuff.
Okay, I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this, Zach. Miguel and I've talked about this a decent little bit, so I'm interested to hear kind of your take on this. So for everybody watching, first of all, let me be really clear. We are not about to have some wild abortion discussion. We're just not, okay? We understand that there are multiple sides that will be one way very, very heavily and the other way very, very heavily, and it gets people very emotional. So that's not what we're here to do. What I'm here to do and what we are here to do is to bring a reality and a focus to what's happening here. We talk about division a lot on this channel. And the reality is our government, and not just our government, but the world as a whole, is trying to divide you. They're trying to divide us. They want the three of us that are sitting here right now talking. They want everybody in the chat to be fighting, to be struggling back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. How do you do that? Well, there's a number of ways to do it. One of the ways that you can do it that we've talked about a lot is by creating these safety measures that like have to happen to keep everybody safe. Another way that they do it is to just get a divisive topic. And this has been a really divisive topic. So here's kind of where I stand with this. Most people do not know that Roe v. Wade actually was a privacy matter. It was not, all you ever hear. If you say Roe v. Wade to anybody, immediately you're going to an abortion topic. Well, the reality is the topic at hand in the courts was about privacy, personal privacies, medical privacies, the right to be able to marry, the right to be able to have contraception. I think some of the same-sex marriage stuff came in there. And then obviously the abortion stuff got in there. But the reality is, in my eyes, though I'm not going to dive in again on heavy on the abortion side of things, what I see happening is a divisive topic being tossed out on the people, and then that topic then used after dividing them to say, hey, where do you stand? Okay, that's the first part. But then they're disguising it as something that it's not. They're taking away personal privacy. And we know that personal privacy is a huge, huge topic. So they're putting it as abortion. And the reality is, hey, we're stealing away your personal privacy. So I'd love to hear, I've been talking a bunch to start off the show. I'd love to
Zach
hear.
take it. Zach
yeah, Zach, kind of what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So as I was saying before we got live here, I have been looking at this. What the Supreme Court did was they really passed it off to the states with this ruling. And what I've been warning in my community is, in terms of strategic relocation and understanding your surroundings, if you have to understand where you're at, because when the Supreme Court's, in my opinion, Roe v. Wade abortion aside, it is a states' rights issue, and many issues are states' rights issues. So whatever way your state leans, it's about to go even harder that way, in my opinion. And so you have to be prepared for that. Now, if you're in, I always joke at the Californians, if you're in the communist state of California, you're going to go farther that way. And like I've been saying, how's your program working out? I don't think that their program's working out too well, but that's how they lean. That's how they vote. They're going to continue on with that program. And if you're in that state, you have to make a decision for yourself, your family, your business. Do I need to pick up and leave? I try not to throw out my location too much more anymore, but I've thrown it out so much, it doesn't matter. I'm in Washington. I call it a sanctuary state. It's being ran into the ground. Okay. And the thing that got me, this is kind of off topic from where we were originally, but they're trying to pass an income tax now, an additional state income tax. And for me, that's been like the last straw, where I am not giving another 9% to Mr. Jay Inslee.
Another 9 in Olympia. Another 9%.
It's like 8.6. Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have in our state constitution that it's illegal. There is no state income tax in our state constitution. But that's my point. To bring it back is whatever way your state goes, I think they're about to go even harder that way. Some states are embracing freedom. They respect individual liberties. And that's just the fact I think that we're dealing with right now in this, like you say, the division. I think for the time being, it's only going to get worse. And yeah, that's for you and your family to consider, you and your business to consider. You may have to pick up and leave and head out of Dodge.
Yeah. Shout out to Candle Mafia real quick, Miguel. Sorry to cut you off, but shout out to Candle Mafia. Frankie Candles, if you guys are looking for some good TA before the show, I forgot to talk about this at the start of the show. Make sure you check out Frankie Candles over on BitBoy Crypto. That's our boy. He's on sometimes for our TA for around the charts here with TA Thursdays. So make sure that you guys check him out. That's our boy. And Candle Mafia, what is popping? Okay, Miguel, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so my thoughts are like both of you guys said, right? The divisiveness. That's what it is. What's coming up in a few months? Election time. What do they need? We need sparks. We need controversy. We need things that get people riled up and it's going to make you vote a certain way, right? One party was pretty much drawing dead in the water. Now they've got two big topics that are really riled people up, right? We've seen some stuff happen with firearms. We're seeing this stuff happen with abortions now. So that's got that whole side fired up to vote in a certain direction. And it's being used as that just to get votes. It's not because they really believe a certain way or another. And that's what they're trying to cause, right? Drama to divide people up. And it's a distraction from what the real things that are happening in real life are. It's a way of manipulating people's emotions, and the whole thing about abortions, whether you lean one way or another, it's I had a good thought, but I think I lost my train of thought on what I was going to say earlier. That just it's a big distraction. It's manipulating people. I lost it. I don't know what I was going to say, but let's just
you're good. You're good, dude. I think that again, it is about the distraction, and they want you to be looking right when something is going on to the left. There's just all sorts of just chaos going on. And I'm going to take it one step further real quick before we dive into the next topic. So there's this idea out there. This might be a little heavy, right? So don't crucify me here, chat. Okay. There's this idea out there called the birth dearth. Okay. And for those of you that don't know what it is, I'm going to explain it to you real quick. The reality is, in the United States, and by the way, I don't subscribe to what we're about to talk about here. Just want to be really clear. Just want to have the conversation. In the United States, the white man is no longer going to be the majority. That is quickly happening. We actually see that happening all over the world.
That's what the birth dearth thing says.
Well, but the idea is that there is a lot of people in high places that really believe in the white narrative, like the bringing the white man up and all this, that, and the third, right? Which is just blah. But what I'm getting at is there is a lot of old white guys in politics that will open up the idea that, hey, Black Lives Matter, and we need to open up the borders and let all the, show basically for voting purposes that they support all of these different ideas. Then you bring in the fact that 60% of, again, back to this is kind of why I tied this in, 60% or 61% of abortions are white women, right? They're looking at population and saying, wait a minute, we as the old white guys are losing control as a people in our society, in our economy. And so
now you're gonna spark some people with that one,
dude.
Bro.
Hey, listen, it's just an idea. It's a book that was written. I didn't write the book, right? But the suggestion that's happening is that now we introduce an idea that gives you like forced birthing or however you want to pose that, right? And that gets pushed on the people to then bring up a certain population in the economy. I know it's a deep, crazy topic, but it's
by the way, I remember what I was gonna say earlier. What I was gonna say earlier was before
The Handmaid's Tale.
Even that's a great show, by the way. Great show. Everybody should go watch it. But what I was gonna say was that this whole Roe v. Wade being overturned and being sent back to the states, right? There's a lot of misinformation, like you said earlier before we went live about this, and it's hard to find good information. But regardless of what it is, and regardless of what side you fall on, it shows you that in a split of a second, a right that you think you had is no longer there. Therefore, if this can happen to abortions or to whatever, any other right is on the table to be taken away from you. So everyone that thinks there's no reason to prepare, there's no reason to be vigilant on what is happening in politics, what's happening in your country, you are sadly mistaken, because that's how they want you. They want you to be asleep. They want you to not be aware, so that when they snap their fingers and take your right away, you didn't even see it coming, and then it's too late. It's a lot harder to get a right back practically impossible
Yep.
than trying to just defend this so you don't lose it in the first place. So that's what I wanted to say earlier, and I kind of lost my train of thought there. So that's what it is. Always stay vigilant. Whatever you think you have is a right, it's not permanent. It can go away if you vote the wrong way. Some people say voting doesn't matter. It might not, right? Things might be completely rigged, but it's been like that for a long time. That's not a new concept, right? If you do believe in that, it didn't just happen yesterday. It didn't just happen last election cycle. It's been happening for a very long time. So always stay vigilant, guys. Always.
Zach, you talk. I've heard you talk about some of the elitist stuff, right? We all three of us are into prepping, into getting our families ready for whatever may come down the pipeline, even if it's something as simple as a natural disaster. But you talk a lot, or at least I've heard you talk some about the elitist culture and the things that happen and the position that some of these elites are in versus, you know, just the everyday man. My question to you is there, how do I word this without sounding too wild here? Is there is there a systemic problem in our society right now that basically says, hey, if these people like basically, let's use the voting for an example. Do you believe that we are such an elitist society that voting genuinely doesn't matter, that these are all puppets, you know, as it relates, like are our politicians puppets? Let's start with that.
There's many agendas at work here, I believe, many entities behind the scenes. And you know, to that point, I think that, like you said, the rights just being stripped away. For an example, abortion's the issue here at hand. Well, the next issue is your Second Amendment. You know, the next issue is your freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying. These states are dividing. They're going one way or another. And it's, I mean, whatever the people think the best program is, they're going to vote that way. But like you've said, both sides have been bought and paid for. That's for sure. Both sides have sold us out. To that theory, I forget what it was called, but you're touching on a touchy subject. But the bottom line is, Western culture is in a pretty pathetic state. As far as for me, we've been turned away. Our culture has been turned away from having a family and living a purposeful life, in my opinion. Is it when you get the races involved, that gets people more divided and more confused?
Yep.
But I think what you're getting at is there's many people that have just destroyed and basically going away from what made Western culture and society great in an opportunity, specifically here in America. I mean, for me, I focus on America because that's where I'm from and what I understand most.
Yeah.
But I just see the people fighting for freedom worldwide right now, and just for a respect of individual liberties and rights and that freedom of speech. But I think, like Miguel said, what's interesting with this ruling is when you put it back on the states. Well, some of these states, they're going a funny way, to put it nicely, right? They're going a funny way. So
do you think the elites are the ones behind all of this? They want this to be exactly the way it is now, to to bring down the society of America, bring down Americans, and cause the division, cause like an organic thing that, hey, it's just randomly happening. There's no one actually pulling strings in the background.
No, I most definitely do. I think that they've set up this moment in time similar to World War II. You're not saying that there's going to be another world war, but just as far as using the conflict and the chaos to create their new order. I mean, their motto is order out of chaos, and that's what they live by. So, and here's what's key is, even though some events are kind of pre-planned, some people call them staged, you have to understand that real people get caught up in this. Whether it's the war in Ukraine, Russia, whether it's another shooting. I said like a month ago, I was like, guys, there's going to be a shooting every weekend from now till the election.
That's going to get advertised. That's going to get advertised. Yeah.
In election years, you see massive body counts stacking up every election year.
So whether it's just a real occurrence, The media is going to spin it up. The narrative is there, and they use that to control the people. And yeah, so I definitely believe that that's been a plan. This moment in time, they knew that specifically when you bring it back to finances and money, the U.S. dollar's time as the reserve currency is up. Miguel will say it's Bitcoin's going to be the new reserve currency. I'd say it's XRP. You know, Peter Schiff's going to tell you it's gold.
Yeah.
Well, Peter's talking about Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff's in a bit of a pickle. I'm sure he's coming back into a Bitcoin maybe pretty soon.
But the time is up, and my opinion is that those people that have been in power knew that their time was up. They're instigating this moment. They're taking advantage of it with the plan for their new system, which, getting back to privacy, is a completely digital world where everything's tracked and traced.
Yes.
Yeah, let's 100%, get into that, dude. Let's get into that.
So that's actually we didn't even tell Zach that's where we're headed, but that is 100% where some of this is headed.
Yeah.
Because blockchain is this beautiful thing, right? Most of you follow the three of us for some sort of crypto content, right? That's what we're here for. Miguel and I, we debate some really hot topics in the crypto space. We'll talk about some political stuff. We give you the information that you're not getting elsewhere. But Zach does the same thing. So we knew, hey, when we get into this topic, we need to bring Zach Rector on here because this is his shit, right? We need to get in there, right? And so the blockchain is a beautiful thing that can say, hey, you know what? I don't need to trust. I just verify, right? And that's beautiful. However, we are moving towards a world that wants to do anything. They want to do everything via verification. Okay. It doesn't matter what you're freaking doing. KYC. And so
we're seeing that in the crypto world right now.
Yeah. And I think that it's interesting that some of these massive institutions are going down the tubes right now as all of these ideas and all of these regulations and all these stuff are coming in. And so I'm really interested to see, how does this play out? Because our whole world right now, I talked about this one before, the airport, now they're encouraging people, hey, you can skip the line if you just give us your retina scan and everything else about you. Hey, we're all about it. You can skip the line. All they want is that most important, valuable thing, data. And the blockchain, as beautiful as it is, the blockchain provides that. So I'm interested to see, where does that head, not just in finance, but where does that head in our medical information? Where does that head as it relates to our families, our kids, and our schools? There's a lot going on right now that some would say is questionable. Others would say is absolutely chaos and insane. And just a side note, before I hear what Zach and Miguel have to say about it, it is the whole reason that we have Danger Close Alpha. We genuinely, we're not trying to sell anybody fear. We genuinely believe that the majority of families are not prepared. If something happened right now, the statistic fact is that the most of you would not survive past the little bit of food that you have. And if you did survive past the food, you're not going to survive much longer than that, because you're going to run out of something else, or you're not going to be protected, or you don't have any sort of a game plan. And so what we want to do is spread that information, spread the love, create the community that we can build on top of as a community and come together, not the freaking division that's being sold to us through our media every day, and figure this out.
Yeah, dude, 100%. We're selling awareness that you need to be prepared so that you're not dependent on government, right? Because all these people that are not prepared, when they run out of food, when they ever need anything, they're going to have to line up and comply to whatever is required of them from the government to receive whatever it is they need, whether it's shelter, food, whatever, because they're not going to be able to protect themselves or provide for themselves and their families. So that's what we really want. So you're not becoming dependent of the government. So you become independent. Just how you do in crypto, you become your own bank and you self-custody. Same exact concept, but in real life when in dire situations. So it's awareness, not fear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no doubt. What were you about to say, Zach?
I just put together a to-do list like a month ago that I shared on TikTok, YouTube. It was just a little short on my whiteboard session. And I said, first thing was prepping. Before you get into crypto, real estate, your business plan, precious metals, can you feed your family for a month?
Listen up, people. Go ahead, continue.
And nonetheless, if the world doesn't go to hell in a handbasket like we kind of think it might be, the inflation, guys, 20% inflation is where we're at.
Yeah.
The CPI data that's 8.6 or whatever it is, that's a lie. It's at least double. And I just say you might as well round up to 20% because anything that matters as far as food, energy, housing is 20, 50, even 100%. And so whether or not the world goes to hell, you're going to lock in your prices on those essential food that is going to be 20 to 50% more expensive over the course of a year, which, during a bear market, you might be able to catch better gains on your food than some of your cryptos. But yeah, and I wanted to bring it back to the privacy thing because as far as you said with the tracking of everything.
Yeah.
Many people are going to sign up for that security, the pre-check at the airport, like you mentioned. The convenience always sells, and people will
100%.
walk right into their own demise because of the convenience. And you look at, let's just, about half the population right now that really kind of just walks right into what's ever fed to them. They don't think critically. And although I believe, and I encourage everyone to approach these people with empathy and try to, share what we can with them, try to wake them up. Some people are gone, bro. We're not saving them. Like,
100%. I completely 100% agree with that. And before we keep even diving into the privacy thing, I want to just take it back to where you're talking about CPI numbers. For the people that are watching that don't understand what CPI is and how it's calculated, think of it as a basket of goods that people buy, right? That's what it is. And when inflation continues to grow and you stop buying certain things, that is now updated to only the new things you're buying. So if you're buying items that have not hit inflation yet or just lower, you're buying less, we're updating the basket, so that basket always looks like it's, the CPI numbers looks like it's growing very slowly or barely growing at all. But in reality, you've stopped buying a bunch of other things that used to be in your basket, but now with higher inflation prices, you're not buying that anymore. And that's how that CPI system is a flawed system that never shows you the reality of how things are expensive.
Yeah, the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, is something that gets. Listen, let's be fair. I don't care whether you lean left, right, or somewhere in between. The reality is, it is a convenient thing to show you, to try to basically say we're not doing that bad, guys. Just stick with us, deal with us a little bit longer. It's not as bad as people are saying. But let's be fair. I own a construction company. Lumber is not up 10%. It's not up 8.6%. It's not up 20%. It's not up 40%. It's up well over 100%. Okay, that's a commodity, right? Let's go into the store and start looking at things in the store. Let's look at bread. I bought an $8. Now, albeit it was a nice loaf of bread, but I bought an $8 loaf of freaking bread the other day, right? And what I'm trying to say here is the things that consumers are actually purchasing on a regular basis. Eggs used to be, I don't know. Now I'm an old man here, so I might show my age on this, but eggs used to be like 50 to 70 cents, right? Now you go in and buy it. What's a dozen eggs right now? $2.50? $3? I mean, legitimately, like they're
depending if you're buying organic or you're buying like the most cheapest price, dude. Eggs get ridiculously expensive.
They get crazy quick. And so what kind of we're seeing is the result of things that happened from the past. And so when you hear people talk about politically why they believe that you should have one party or the other, and to be fair, I think I can speak for the three of us. For us, it's not right or left. It's not right or wrong. It's not old or young or gay or straight or woman or man or somewhere else, whatever the case may be. It's about unity in the human race. And I think that might sound like an idealistic idea, but it's a real freaking idea.
Oh, dude,
we create all this division, dude. We create it.
They're going to keep us very well and united in their database as they're tracking all of us. We'll be united together as they track all of us all the time, right? With the whole privacy thing and how Zach was saying, people do walk into these problems because of convenience. We were talking about in the Twitter space last night, right? When Elon Musk comes out with his Neuralink and start putting chips in people's brains, why is it that people in the Black Mirror episodes use it? right? Because it's
Convenient.
convenient. It's convenient. Hey, I can look back at all my memories in an instant. Like if I'm looking through my Instagram feed on my profile and relive and rewatch anything. That's great. That's convenient. I don't ever have to worry about forgetting things. It's right there in my database in my head. But you know who else is in your database in your head? The government is, because that shit is not going to be private to you alone, right?
Yeah.
We already seen all these kind of things happening, and people will walk into all of these problems for convenience. We've talked about the microchip, right? Getting a microchip. The convenience. Hey, if you're in an accident, like I talked about last night on the Twitter space, and you're unconscious and they want to know who you are, what's your blood type, what's all these things, what medications are you on, what previous injuries have you had, what are you allergic to or not, anything that can help them save you, that's going to be there, right? That's going to be a convenience that's going to be sold to you. And people want to say, hell yeah, right? Hey, your kid gets lost, kidnapping. Hey, we can track them. It'll make it a lot more difficult for people to, kidnap kids. That's a convenience that's going to be sold to you one way or another. All these things, and people will walk into it because the other side, the dark side, will not be talked about, how slippery slope that is and how quickly things can get abused, because that's the problem. Technology is beautiful, and like cryptocurrencies are beautiful, and everything that we're seeing are beautiful things in this technological world, but dark, very, very, very quick, and can get abused very easily. And people don't think about that. And it's once you implement it, once the culture accepts it and walks into it, it's too late. There's no going back, right? There's no going back to a non-digital currency world. There's no going back to a pre-internet world. There's no going back to any of these things. These technologies are here to stay forever.
Yeah. And I think that takes us to the next point in an interesting topic. So, speaking out of both sides of your mouth, we all know that people can be very good at this. Our government especially is really good about this. Tell you a story over here, we support this, and then you turn around. I don't know if you ever seen the political, I'm sure you've seen the political videos where you have somebody saying, I don't support this, and then literally a year later, I absolutely support this. Like, get out of here. It's the convenient topic. So let's talk about one of those.
Were you talking about Joe Biden?
No, I would never. I would never. I think his name's Brandon, but I'm not positive. I thought his name was Brandon. I hear a lot of people saying that. So, but yeah, so I think the really interesting thing that's happening here, let's talk about one that's related to blockchain. So one of the biggest things that people have talked about for a long time has been the energy consumption of Bitcoin. Okay. Not just Bitcoin, but a bunch of other, digital assets.
Yeah, proof of work.
And yeah, proof of work assets that are getting mined, that they're using. For those of you that are newer to the space, they're using computer power to essentially produce what ultimately is Bitcoin by figuring out a bunch of guessing games by using your computer power. It's a really basic way to say it, but that's what's happening. Okay, so we're using all this energy. We've got to stop. We can't do this. We're killing the environment. I have two things to bring to the table, and one of them is really, really. I'm gonna finish with the really relevant right now one, but I'm gonna start with the other one. So now we talking about all of these just awful things that we're doing to our society. What are we doing right now but pushing electric vehicles? We've got California saying by 2025 or 2030, I don't know what it is, you have to be all electric, right? It costs, and it is more harmful to our environment to produce these lithium batteries, to keep up on these lithium batteries, and then to dispose of these lithium batteries, which you damn near can't do, right? Than it does just to use the fossil fuels that we've been using. We talk about wind turbines. These wind turbines, same thing. They cost more to make in terms of energy consumption. They ultimately, when you maintain them to get them from point A to point B, you're absolutely using it. At the end of the day, they're a net negative versus where we are at, but it's the narrative. Now let's skip into what's valid today. CERN. Okay, we are using so we talk about all of these crazy things that are happening, but we have the most energy intensive thing possibly on freaking planet Earth while we have rolling blackouts going on worldwide. Tell me how that freaking makes sense. We have the massive energy intensive. I want either Miguel or Zach to talk about CERN and tell the people what CERN actually is, because if you don't know, you're about to know. But ultimately, what's happening there? How are we going to say on one side energy is energy, and recycling and for the environment, all this thing is where it's at, and this is what we need to do, and then on the same breath say, oh yeah, by the way, we're using the most energy intensive thing on planet Earth to figure out if we can create a freaking black hole. How does this work?
I'll let Zach take it. I've been talking a little bit too much.
I think they're trying to open up like another dimension, summon some demon.
We need one.
I
We need
don't know
one. You
what
look
they're
around
doing,
recently.
man.
We need another dimension, dude. This one's fucked.
I don't know what they're doing, man. Like I've read a lot of conspiracies on it. I've heard a lot of stuff, but I did find this earlier, and I covered this in my live show this morning. I want to share this with you guys. This was fascinating to me. So the 2008 market crash happened 44 days after the initial run of the Large Hadron Collider by CERN.
Okay.
And so they've just reactivated 44 days from July 5th, yesterday, when they fired it back up, is going to take us out to about the middle of August. And so I found a little find there on Twitter, little Twitter gem. And so it kind of lines up for where I think we could kind of see a market bottom. I mean, I'm no TA expert, but I'm just kind of looking at some macro picture stuff. And I'm thinking that as we head into this fall, we could still bottom out even further, even though the markets are up today. But I just found that kind of an interesting connection between what's taking place now and what happened during the 08. There's so many similarities between now and 08. But, you know, I've heard everything from the world ended in 2012 as we know it. They opened up a different like parallel dimension, all sorts of stuff going on like that. I think that, man, at the end of the day, I just want to focus on my energy. Like you said, I mean, what are they doing? I don't know. It's probably no good. They're probably like worshiping evil and trying to summon stuff. Dude. And, you know.
Have you guys seen the 2016 like celebration of CERN outside? Like they literally, the guys like in a half goat suit, and there's like it looks like a whole entire like satanic ritual happening. It's like
looks like
these people looks like, right? You can't make accusations because, you know, whatever.
Like the 666, that's their logo, or no?
Yeah, right. Just like the World Economic Forum as well, and all this people doing all this stuff. It's like, dude, what are they doing? Like, these are scientists, and you're out here having half a goat man celebrating some crazy demonic Satan and stuff. It's like, then when people talk about like us being, they're like Satan cultivists and worshipers. Oh, you're crazy. Why that symbolism? Why the goat man? Right? Why couldn't it be a duck? Why couldn't it have been a duck? Right?
A duck.
Like, why couldn't it be a guy in a duck suit dancing around, right? Celebrating free flowing energy, just floating around, you know, whatever. Could have gone real hippie real quick, but no, they went straight for the goat. So I mean, dude, it's so crazy the things that they're doing. The level of energy that's going to take is going to be running, I think, for the next like 4 years, right? And the level of energy way surpasses what it's doing. At least Bitcoin is bringing some value, or, you know, cryptocurrencies and proof of work is bringing value to the world. The only value that CERN is bringing to the world is not going to be in our best interest. I can tell you that. Finding even if we find another dimension, I don't think that's the kind of dimension we want to be in.
No, dude, I totally agree with you. I think they are. I saw it in the chat actually. Somebody said, hold on a second. Somebody
Mandela
said,
effects.
Well, the Mandela effect, that's definitely something that I've heard people talk about. But somebody said something about they're trying to play God. And I think it's really interesting, the symbolism that's been in their celebrations and then versus what they're trying to do. They're trying to essentially, this is how I understand it.
I've told
Correct
you
me in the chat.
Correct
me in the chat if I'm wrong. But they're basically trying to make particles collide at such high rates of speed that it opens up what ultimately is another dimension. They're trying to say, hey, like we could have time like moving parallel to where we're at, and we can open up that ability to go from point A to point B. We might be able to do that, right? Okay, fine. Let's say I was on board with that. I'm like, hey, use as much energy as you want. Freaking let's get after it. Why, when you're doing the celebration, does it need to be like kind of what you were talking about, Miguel? Why does it need to be just straightforward? If you look at, you know, satanic symbolism, why does it need to be that? And I think that it can't be anything but, it's not a freaking coincidence. It's on purpose.
It's part of their like deal, right? The whole thing is that there's a term for it. There's like a thing where it's like the whole deal is that everything they do, they need to also tell us ahead of time what they're doing. It's part of their deal. Like we're making this deal with the devil. We're making this deal with whatever, you know, whatever it is that they're worshiping, whatever it is. But at the same time, we have to let the people know and put it in and it's kind of a way to prime people and to unconsciously people start accepting these ideas like, okay, yeah, this is happening, that's cool. Okay, yeah, this is where we're headed now. Okay, that's cool. Right, that's why we've seen all these symbolism in the Simpsons, right? All these futuristic events happening, and we've seen them in other cartoons, and we see all this symbolism always happening, and we see these type of events. We've seen documentaries, right? We've seen all kinds of evidence being revealed, right? Like the 666 being in the logo of CERN and in the World Economic Forum and all the other things. Why is that there? Everybody knows what the 666 is. There's no one in the world that has never heard of the 666, right? But yet it's always plastered everywhere. Why? It's not a coincidence that all these things are happening.
Yeah, so let me ask you, Zach. We've talked about a lot of different topics tonight, but the main theme is that we're being deceived, right? We are absolutely, if you believe that we are getting fed the truth, when, as an example, BlackRock owns just about every media outlet out there, right? If you listen to the news, and it's literally word after word, like saying after saying after saying, exactly. If you believe that we are being fed the truth, then you're not paying attention to the fact that the Obama administration, I think I talked about this on the Twitter stream last night, but the Obama administration actually made it legal again to be able to push propaganda onto us, the American people. That's a fact. There used to be a law that said you couldn't do it. Then the Obama administration came in and said, hey, you can do this again. Okay. So if you don't believe that that's happening, I would urge you to just use some critical thinking. Why would they repeal that? Why would they change that if they weren't planning on actively using it? It's bringing attention to something that otherwise wouldn't have anything good to do for you. And so my question to you, Zach, is the whole idea behind what we've been talking about is deception. We are being deceived. Do you believe that, let me just ask it a different way. Is there a greater grand scheme as it relates to our macroeconomic situation versus our financial situation, and then bridging that with just straight up deception? How does this mold together? What does this look like, bringing these two things together?
What's that famous saying? The greatest lie ever told was the devil telling you it wasn't real.
Yeah.
That's kind of summarizes it up for me. And I don't get too religious, but I think for me, what I've seen is when you start to study these people and just how evil they are, and I won't go too deep because we're on the public platforms, but when you look at the crimes against humanity and everything that they've kind of done, and that to me made my faith in, you can call it good, you can call it God. I tell the kids on my channel, because you got to be politically correct and woke, I just say catch a vibe because I don't want to offend anyone. So I just say catch a vibe. But for me, when I saw how evil they go, that for me is what made my faith and my will and determination to resist their evil even stronger. Now, on a day-to-day basis, I'm going to focus on my business. I'm going to focus on taking care of my family and what do I need to do.
Right.
When you go and you understand all this stuff, I feel like it overwhelms a lot of people to the point where they get caught up in the rabbit hole and they never get out. They're caught up in the secret sauce and they never actually participate in real life, taking steps to, secure their family's future.
Yeah.
So for me, waking up back in 2012, I woke up through Ron Paul speaking on the Federal Reserve. And that's when I learned, how governments actually corrupt and how they control the monetary policy, how they control the US dollar. And so for me, that started a whole decade, the last decade of just researching all these different entities, all these different groups. And I like to say, you can go to the very tippy top of the pyramid, and try to figure out the Freemasons, Illuminati, all that. But at the end of the day, what are you going to do about it? It's like, yeah, you can believe they're real. I believe they are real. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I don't trust it and I don't vibe with it. But I try to have a balance between understanding it and how do I actually implement the strategies that I need to execute on right now.
Yeah, and it starts with, dude, well said. I think it starts with the family. right? It starts with the family unit. What are you doing at home to raise up a child, to bring your spouse up or your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever you got going on, to then be able to put that information out to other people to be able to do some of the same thing, right? It starts at home at the basic family level, right? I'm not going to get all religious either, but if you think biblical at all, it talks about pastoring your family, right? And that is the smallest group that you have an influence over. And so I think that if we are able to start on that family level and change the idea, I've said it a few times before. Love my nephew to death. He's like 15 years old, and I've heard him say some things that are very he I know, because I know the family that he's raised in. He is being what's the word I'm looking for? He is being
woke.
What'd you say?
Woke. He's just like very woke.
Well, yeah. So same idea. He's being fed some ideas that I know he's not getting from home. And so we really need to work and be extra vigilant to our families to maybe recognize that a lot of these ideas are not as they seem, right? They seem like these idealistic things to do, but in the reality, they are for a totally different purpose. And then on top of that, physically in our real world, we need to be able to prepare. People think that you're crazy when you use the word prepper. They think of doomsday preppers. They, think that, you're actively hand digging a bunker in your backyard. They use all the most extreme examples. But the reality is, I am ready to defend my home in the manner of, things that go pew pew, right? I am ready to defend my home as it relates to being able to put out the information that I feel like my home needs to hear and feel and see and work through. I am there to feed my family. I am called to pastor, to move my family in that direction. And I think that's where it starts. And that's part of what we are doing. I know, Zach, that's part of what you're doing. On a fundamental level, you asked, what can we do? I think that's what we can do. I think sometimes we think so big, like I'm going to revolt against the government. Me, Crusader, Zach Rector, we got a good social media following going, and we're just going to revolt, right? When I think that it's like your investment portfolio. It starts small. You continue to add to it, and then over time, things build. And I think that's what needs to happen in the world that we live in right now. I think we need to start small, get ourselves prepared, get our families prepared, and build on that. That's what I think we should be doing.
Yeah, man. Though, to sum it up for me, I mean, a lot of people are saying different things, right? Some people are saying, hey, the Dutch are protesting. Other people are saying the U.S. military industrial complex, all this stuff. Whatever you believe in that you think is a problem or not, the only way to do anything about all the stuff we're talking about here, right? Whether it's privacy, Roe versus v. Wade, CERN, the elites, whatever it is, the only thing and the solution to the problem is being vigilant, being aware of the lies that we're being fed, and how to stay away to steer your family, like you guys were saying, in the right direction, right? 2, prepare. And preparing doesn't mean, like you're saying, doomsday preppers. It means get yourself in a situation where you will not be dependent on any government or any authority figure to provide for you, whether it's food, safety, shelter, water, anything. Prepare to defend yourselves and provide for your families so you're not dependent on government. So you don't have to keep up and put up with the BS that they're going to feed you and ask of you to have these things. So don't let them strip away the comforts that you have. If you want to keep the comforts, you need to prepare. So those are the solutions to everything that we've talked about here is preparedness. Being prepared for anything that could happen so you're not dependent on government. And how does crypto come into it? The same exact way. Becoming your own bank, being self-custody, right? Holding the power of your own money so that you can use it and spend it when you want, how you want, when you need to. And no one can stop you from making the transaction happen. Those are the 3 things. Vigilant, preparedness, so you don't have your things taken away from you, your safety, your food, your shelter, your water for you and your family, and your money. The third one is your money. control your money so that they don't have control over your money, therefore control over your life. And we're trying to do this with Danger Close Alpha, right? That's the whole purpose. Is Danger Close Alpha is to prepare people, is to get people the skills and the resources they need, build a community of like-minded individuals that actually care about this stuff and work together to get these things with real life utility, with real life experiences.
This right here is why you need to set your family up for success, right? The joy of my life right here, our sponsor of our show, my daughter, looking so cute in her little Nike hat. She's saying hi to everybody. You see her waving. This is what it's about, right? We've got to start when they're young like this. We've got to set up a household, a home. Oh yeah, you saying hi? You want to get on the mic, huh? You want to tell everybody hi? Say hi. We've got to start at this young age, right? Oh my gosh. And when we start there, that's where we can build from. There's a lot of people in the world today that are already past the maybe some of their people are like an old dog, teaching an old dog new tricks. Sometimes that can be really tough, right? People are set in their ways. They've already got it figured out. They don't need or to hear anything that you have to say. And I think that starting there, if we can, is where we have an opportunity, because guess who's going to be ruling the country someday? Her, her friends, her
I thought you were going to say Danger Close Alpha. I was like, dude, don't give up that intel.
Yeah, I know, right? So I think that it's a simplistic idea that can be simplified down to that. The family unit is where this needs to start and move forward from there. So, Crypto fam, we love you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Zach, thank you for coming on, dude. We appreciate all your input, and thank you for being here, dude. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I just encourage people to take massive action, keep on educating yourself, but you can only read so many books and listen to so many podcasts and listen to so many great shows like this. You got to get off the show then and then start taking action. And like you said, you take care of your prepping from there and then focus on your income is what I've been pushing a lot. Yeah. Get your income straight. And then you want to have every asset class covered, like Miguel was kind of talking about, not just your food or your prepping.
Yeah.
Have a strategy for real estate. Maybe you have a job, that's fine. Maybe you have a business. Either way, get your house in order. Get your business in order right now, because we don't know how long this is going to last. And we definitely got to take action into our own hands. So I appreciate the opportunity, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, dude. And just to be clear, everybody can find all of your socials and stuff from your website. That's tell me the website again, zachrector.com.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. So the information's down below the video, guys. But if you want to check out Zach, make sure you guys do. He's got TikTok, he's got Twitter, he's got YouTube, he's got it all. So make sure you guys check him out. We appreciate you for being here. And yeah, I don't know. I just want to end tonight with just a little bit of encouragement. We talk a lot about things that maybe sometimes feel, especially on like Wednesdays, that maybe feel a little doom and gloom. That's not our intention here. Our intention is to help you be able to open your eyes a little bit to the idea that, there are things going on in this world that are other than kosher, that are, hey, this is a reality of where we're at, but this is the encouragement. You have an opportunity to help change that factor. There is an opportunity there. The question is, are we going to take it? So we love you guys. We appreciate each and every one of you for being here. You could be anywhere. And on a Wednesday night, you are here with Debate Crypto. You are in the Danger Close Alpha Discord, getting yourselves prepared. We love you. We appreciate you. Just remember to question everything.
Trust nothing.
Until next time, hodl
like it's hot.
We'll see you soon.